Welcome to the Sassy Ladies podcast. And if you're lost here and you're not sure what you're going to get, well, it's in the name. We're ladies, we're sassy, and it's a podcast.
Pretty, pretty much. That's it.
So, on the agenda today, we've just got a couple of really innocent get to know you questions. Nothing too personal, just casual things you would ask a complete stranger. And so this will be your introduction to our lovely hosts. I am your local alien. You might hear me referred to as Sophie. It does not matter. But if you are interested in hearing more of my voice, just look for your local alien and see what you find. We also have.
Hi, my name is Love. Uh, Definitely not as cool as local alien, that's for sure. Uh, but I'm here. Hello, hi.
Hi guys, my name is Ariel Nicole, and I am also here, present, and accounted for.
And I'm Sherelle, and I am the weird one. So everybody get ready.
That is highly debatable, but okay. So begins the beginning of the legacy of the Sassy Ladies.
The legacy, I love it.
I like that a lot.
All right, let's get to these questions, yeah?
Yep, starting with something so innocent and wholesome that you would totally expect a stranger to ask you.
Wow.
Oh,
She said
yeah.
innocent
Innocent.
and
Yeah, that's right.
This is
she's
so many layers. So many
So,
layers, aliens. I
what
just,
was the sign that your relationship was over?
oh geez. Which relationship?
That's what I was gonna say. We're talking most
man.
any
Roll
young
a
one.
die.
You mean like the school relationships or like the ones after school, the marriage, like which one?
The familial relationships that you had to put the kibosh on.
Whichever one had the clearest sign.
Oof, well, I can definitely start out with this one, if you guys don't mind. I was married once upon a time, and so the very clearest indicator that my relationship was over was just we literally didn't even talk anymore. And I think um, one day, oh yeah, I remember one day I came home and the dogs were gone, and I was trying to find them, and then when he finally came home, I asked him where the dogs were, and he was like, "Well, I don't want to take care of them anymore, so I sent them to the shelter." And so that was the day I knew our relationship was over. So I ran to go get those dogs and filed for divorce, and that was it.
Who
That's
just
what I was like, who does that? Like,
oh,
who
oh.
didn't even ask if you wanted the dogs? It was just like, I don't want to take care of them. Let me get rid of. Oh, yeah, okay.
Was there
Uh,
like previous contention around the dogs?
yes and no. It was one of those things to where they were originally my dogs. They came from my two dogs, and he loved
All the
those
more
dogs.
like I'm so sorry. I'm
Uh,
so sorry. But like
and
all
I'm
like
happy you're
what?
divorced.
All the more like they weren't even his dogs to begin with. Like the
I
audacity. I am
know.
like my mind is blown at the audacity of
Well, it gets even worse though because what happened afterwards is the reason why he was actually able to do that because we were living together by that time, and it and so when I went to go try to find them at the shelter, they were not there, and so to make a bad story worse because he was getting out of the military a week later. So what I didn't know is that he had his parents come
Damn.
over and take the dogs.
What?
And like, yeah, and they drove them to a different state, to their home state. And like a year later, I got a phone call saying that they couldn't take care of the dogs, so they dropped them off at a kill shelter. And they were calling me saying, if you don't pick up the dogs within a day, they're gonna get, euthanized. And of course, me being in a completely different country at that time, I couldn't do anything.
Wait, so
Wow.
instead of letting you have your dogs, he
He
sent them
went
to his
outside of
parents,
his
like
way.
to let someone else take them who ended up not being able to take care of them. Okay.
Yeah, I told you that's the sign I knew it was over. So,
I
just,
mean,
just a normal conversation.
hmm, yeah. Well, I was married to you. Let me preface this by saying I thought this was a clear sign our relationship was over. He did not. We were we're actually he was also in the military, so I was a military spouse. We were in Okinawa, Japan, and I packed up and moved myself and our son back to the States. Um, but he did not see that as our relationship being over. Even though I said, if I go home and get an apartment and car and all of these things, I am not coming back. But to him, that meant, I don't know, like maybe I needed a break or was upset, or I don't really, to be honest, I don't really know what he thought, but he was surprised when I didn't come back. Even
Okay,
though I said the word, I'm not coming back.
what made you what was the moment, like what made you decide to leave?
Um, well,
If you don't mind sharing.
well, uh, let's see. What's the moment I decided I was done? When I looked at our relationship and realized that I didn't want my son to think that that was normal or healthy. Like if there
Mm.
was a question that came across my brain that's if your little baby, because he was barely one,
Yeah.
if he like saw this kind of relationship, saw your guys' relationship for what it is, would you want him to think that was healthy? And when the answer was no, that means I need to go.
Yeah.
See, that's actually very amazing to hear. And I actually love hearing stories like that because so many times you hear about ladies just, especially with having kids, just dealing with it before the kids. And because, all the financials is with the man, they kind of feel stuck in being in that relationship. So it's actually nice to hear someone saying, you know what, this is not going to work. And I don't want my son to be like to feel like this is okay. And so you got up, you left, and you did what you had to do, and look at you now.
I know it was hard because at first I was one of those people that's like, I'm getting married, I'm never getting divorced, and then you grow up and you realize that not everything's okay, not everything is going to work, and sometimes the person that you thought you were with is not actually who they are, and you get that representation of a person for sometimes a long time, but you realize that you don't even want the same thing, so it's kind of like, I'm not going to do this to myself. And I love my son too much to do this to him.
Amen. I heard that.
So there was, for me, I've not been married, but I have been engaged, and we were together for like 5 years. And we were on again, off again kind of a thing. And when we got back on, his mom just decided that I was just the worst. I was the spawn of Satan, basically, to her. And she treated me as such. And there was never any kind of support from him, or like any kind of attempts to stand up to her from him. And what happened, the final straw, like this is many 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 straws, right, piled on the back of that poor camel. So every birthday she would make meals for everybody. So she would ask them what they wanted, and then ask them, and then make them a cake from scratch and all of
Oh,
that stuff. right?
Oh
I think I
no.
feel where it's going.
Well, so and they would do it. They would do it on like a Sunday. So they did like kind of Sunday family dinners, but the Sunday like closest to that said person's birthday, they would do the thing, right, for their birthday. And everyone would come over, Granny would come over. They all lived next door to each other. It was weird. But so my birthday was coming up, and like I said, me and this woman did not get along, and I had just accepted that. You know what I mean? Well, my birthday was coming up, and it actually happened to be on that Sunday. And she calls him and asks, "Hey, what do you want for lunch for dinner on Sunday?" And so he tells her what he wants for dinner. And I'm watching him the whole time, like,
Oh,
like, like, what are you doing? And like, so he tells her what he wants for dinner, and then he's like, "Okay, cool, yeah, we'll be there around whatever time." And I'm like, "Okay."
We're gonna do
The whole
this on
time,
my birthday?
I look at him, I was like, and he hangs up, and he's like, "Yeah, we're good to go over to my mom's for dinner, right?" And I'm like, "Sunday's my birthday." He goes, "I know." I was like, "So why is she asking you what you want for dinner on my birthday?"
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, she didn't mean it like that. She didn't mean it
Yes, she
like
did.
that."
No, yes, she did.
And I was like,
she for sure did.
and see, and so like, so you saw and heard what I saw and heard, and it seems so trivial compared to like your dogs and stuff like that, but it was
No,
just like,
that's
no,
considered.
no. I was like, and so finally, I had already made plans for dinner that Sunday, so I was like, "Oh well, you can go to dinner with your mom. You can
Yeah,
go to dinner with your family.
go ahead.
I'm gonna go to spend my birthday with
With
people that
people who,
actually want to spend it with me."
oh, yes. I'm sorry.
And so,
Oh, I would
and
have such a
so,
visceral reaction. I wouldn't even respond. I would just
Well,
let
see,
him
she's
make
so
his
much
whole little
nicer than me by
thing.
saying
he
it out
did. He
loud.
just kept going like that. I was like, "Okay, well, Larissa and I are going to dinner, so have fun
Wait,
with your
so wait,
mom."
he let you go to dinner by yourself? Like he didn't pop up and show up and say, "Sorry, I didn't mean it like
No,
that."
absolutely not. No, he went to his mom's house. His dad came and picked him up. His dad came and picked him and the boys up, my boys. And I went because there was this Mexican place down on Main Street, and so I went with my girlfriend and had um, gigantic margaritas and Mexican food for my birthday dinner.
Oh, you're so
And
nice. I would, no, I wouldn't have said anything until Sunday.
oh
He
no,
would have
I
gotten
went and
ready to
did
go, and
that.
I'd have been like, I wouldn't have said a word. I would have just
Well,
gone.
and
And he
so
would have
then I
come home,
filed.
and I would have been moved out. Like,
Well, and so I filed for full custody, um, like within a couple of weeks, like within that week, and everything exploded. There was some DV involved, and we ended up at the women's shelter a month later after court hearings, and one signed PTO and
wow.
and full legal and physical custody. I was in a car um, on my way to where I currently live.
Wow.
And I was 8 months pregnant at the time. So,
The absolute
I know.
audacity
Oh, okay.
of some people is, I literally just cannot fathom, whether it be men or women, but in this situation, him, the absolute audacity, the ego of it all. Like, I
I
want to
do
hear
want
more,
to
but I
preface.
also am just so angry.
I
I know. I'm just like,
I do want to preface this by saying that I did go. I had virgin margaritas. I don't want people to think that I went and
yes,
had,
you're 8 months pregnant.
and had I went and I had I went and had margaritas with my girlfriend. I went and had a virgin margarita while she had a margarita in my stead. But that was the moment that I was like, no, this is not, I can't keep living like this with this man.
It's just, it just seems so okay. Because there's there's a thing about you never want to marry a mama's boy, but
It's so true.
there's a difference between
so true.
The stereotypical mama's boy and one that actually has a healthy relationship. Because like for me, I want my kid happy. You know what I mean? Like I want my son happy. I don't have to necessarily like her, but I want him happy. So as long as she's not damaging him, I'm good. You know what I mean?
Well, then let's just say I think I learned a lot about the kind of mother that I don't want to be.
Yeah.
When it comes to my adult male children.
Because at the end of the day, the point is to raise them to be a successful adult, which means that when they hit a certain age and have a significant other, that person comes before you. Yes, I'm your mom, but your wife or husband or whoever that person is, you and that family comes before me. Like I'm under your kids. You know what I mean? It's like spouse, kids, then parents. You know what I mean? So
no, absolutely. I'm on the same page as you for sure.
It's like I need somebody else to be like that's what I want when they get to a certain age. Like I just want to be their friend. So after a while, it's
unless
like
the spouse is trash.
I mean, yes, of course. Now, don't get me wrong. If it's some sort of crazy situation, like I'm all about to be Mama Bear again. But
at the same time, if they're adults, you gotta let them make their choices and make their mistakes at the same time. You can share your opinions and thoughts, but you also have to respect.
And hopefully, but basically, what you want for me as a parent, what I want is to have raised them well enough for them to be able to see those signs and not get in that situation in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even then, I know that with my mom, I was one of those kids who had to learn the hard way. And I remember during the beginnings of my marriage, I literally was calling her and telling her when like little things went wrong because I was just like, well, you were married. What do you do in this situation? And what do you do in that situation? And the first thing she says is, it's okay to call and talk to me because I definitely understand wanting to vent, but do not expect my opinion. I'm just going to be there and be like, oh, that's okay. What are you going to do? Okay, I support you, but that's as far as it's going to go because she does not want to be the middle person.
I wish I'd grown up here.
Right?
Well, it's something that I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say something that I learned, and I wish I had learned this ahead of time, that when it comes to like your significant other, the person you should complain to is their parents. If you can establish that kind of relationship with them, because complaining to my mom about my ex only created negative feelings for her towards him. Not that he didn't deserve them, don't get me wrong, but like I think that like because when you're in relationships, you're always going to have ups and downs. You guys are not always going to be 100. That's just part of the human experience, right? And so there are going to be those rough patches where you're like, I can't stand this motherfucker. I can't stand this dude. And that's okay.
Your friends, if the only thing they hear is negative, that's what they know because they're not in.
And that's what exactly. Whereas if you're going to their mom and being like, you better come get your son because I'm going to kill him, she's going to be like, girl, I know, because she's going to love him. You know what I mean? Regardless, now that's not going to work for all situations. Ideally,
I want the situation that one of my friends had where she had such a great relationship with her in-laws that his mom told him, if y'all get divorced, I'm keeping her. I was like, that's the kind of relationship I want, where she's like, I love her, so you better not mess this up.
You better make this work.
That's what his dad said. His dad said, you won't find another like her, you better not mess it up, dude.
Okay.
Her parents have passed or whatever.
Right.
So his dad
it's Sophie's turn to share. It's Sophie's turn to share.
Well, I was just going to move on to the next stranger-friendly topic that we have.
Hold on.
I'm about to say, you didn't share.
Wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute.
Hey, this is on tea. This is on y'all for not checking the chat. So,
I can't see it.
Oh well.
Okay.
Then you start. You answer the next one first.
Yep.
Fine. I mean, well, okay, like I don't.
No, she's not.
Well, I mean, I don't have boyfriend husband stories to share because I don't
That's
date
okay.
or mingle. I used to have a friend who I cut ties with her like for good when she was ready to just leave me homeless instead of being willing to hop into a car and drive just to pick me up and drop me off at the apartment that we were supposed to have together, that I spent my time and energy finding for me, her, and her boyfriend. So we were all supposed to be in this apartment together. I helped her apply for it and everything. I found it. I did, all the stuff to get her that apartment. And she couldn't be bothered to just drive 5 hours to pick me up because she was like, oh, well, my boyfriend's working that day and I can't drive that far on my own. And it's not like she had any sort of physical ability that prevented her or anything like that. She just didn't want to.
Wait a minute. So they were staying in the apartment while you were transitioning to that same apartment, and instead
Yes,
of picking you
because
up, they just left you there?
yeah, because I was in a different state and it was just one state over, like literal border states. Um and we were talking about, getting a place together and, we all put our names on the application and all that stuff. I found the place for them. It was an amazing 3 bedroom, 2 bath apartment outside of like kind of it's in Indianapolis, but it's in more of a suburb area, so it's quiet, right along a bus line because she was going to the university there. So I, scouted to make sure wherever we went was walkable and close to a bus. Um, and that 3 bedroom, 2 bath was only like 1,200, and this was back in 2022.
Wow.
So did she have like some kind of like anxiety about driving?
No, she
Like,
just didn't feel like it.
Ooh, see,
I
that
Oh,
mean,
apartment
which
would have
by
set
the
on
way,
fire.
or
only a year before they came to visit me, so they had no problem
with the
driving that 5
drive.
hours when it was for fun, but when I need help moving and I'm like literally like I don't even have any furniture or anything. I literally just need the
It's just
transportation.
you. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
can
have a
and
just
conspiracy
imagine that.
theory. I have a theory. You ready for this one? The theory is that they probably already found one of their other friends as a roommate, and they probably couldn't get this person out in time for you to notice that somebody else was living there.
no, that's not the case because they moved in before I did because they were in that area already. Um and they were like basically they just turned it into a gaming room and they don't even game.
See, that wasn't on my bingo card. What are you talking about? What?
So did you just not? So then you just didn't move. So
Oh, I
is
had to
that
move. My lease was up. I had to move. And that led to a whole nother series of events of just unreliable people. But um
See,
well, what happened after that was so actually I was like, at first I was like, I'm not really sure if I'm gonna move in because I was like, this girl, I'm not sure if I really want to live with her. Um, but then like I tried some other roommates and stuff, and I was like, okay, yeah, I think I will move in. And like she was all like, yeah, 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 no problem. And I was like, did you ever like did do anything with the room? And they were like, no, we just you have it as an extra room. It's just empty. Um, and so I was like, okay, so I'll move in. And she was all for it, except for when I asked her to help move. because that's what she had said that she was going to do from the moment we were looking at a place. She kept saying, yeah, she would help me move. And then all of a sudden, oh, well, my boyfriend is working that day, so I can't help you move. And then she said something like, oh, but we can talk like Wednesday or whatever day she said. And I was like, nope, if you can't help me move, we're not talking again. Like, what do you mean we can just hang out in a couple days from now when I need to move now? And you kept saying that you were gonna help me move.
Trash human beings.
I know. I was
That's
like,
all I can say. Just
I
trash.
just I just can't understand like if you I can't understand setting like up a plan with a friend like and even like if we weren't like super close friends, if I knew if we were making arrangements and I knew that this person was getting ready to move in with me, there's some level of excitement that I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be fun." You know, like I'm excited. I'm excited. And mind you, I am down for a road trip. I
I know,
love a
right?
good road trip. And so like if I'm especially if it meant that like the 5 hours back I wasn't gonna be alone, I would drive I could handle a 5 hour drive. And to me it's like that's exciting. I can't
Oh, and
I don't
also
understand it.
she at this point she wasn't working and wasn't in school yet because the new semester hadn't
Oh wait, so
started.
she didn't have anything to do.
Was it
So she
a
just
yeah, I was
I
like, was
mean,
it a money like did she not have any money to
Oh,
spend?
she
Like
had
I'm
money.
about to say
I'm
boyfriend's
trying
working,
to make this
so
make sense.
no, it's not gonna make sense because she's a trash human being. Because
Mm,
it
The
sounds like
Thank
previous
boyfriend
you.
has some money because he got a job. If he at work, he got some money.
Oh yeah, he was making
He had to
money
pay
and the
deposits, so to
apartment
get in the
was
apartment in the first
cheap.
place. So
And she spent like the last year or so living with her mommy. Um, at the age of like 26, she was making $15 an hour living with her mom, not paying a single bill. So
she's trash. She's
she
trash.
had money that she was just saving up that entire time. So yeah, yeah,
Had you
I'm
she
put
like,
had
shoot,
money
at
down
26.
already?
no, I hadn't because at that point I think there wasn't a deposit or something like that. I don't think
Well, I mean,
no, no, what happened was they jumped the gun. So I like gave them some options and I was like, "Okay, let's, look let's narrow it down and like look into these." And so they jumped the gun and just went ahead and like signed on that apartment. I was like,
so
"Uh,
they were never planning on having you actually be a roommate.
well, no, they were up for it, but they just didn't want to put in any work themselves. So if I just magically teleported there, they would have been fine with it. But oh, what's that? They have to pick me up? Nope. And then they were like, can't you just hire movers to move you from
First of
one
all, you said
state
5
to
hours.
another?
Heck no.
Yes. And I'm like,
Well, it didn't even sound like you
no.
needed movers. It sounded like you just needed a vehicle.
I had basically like all of my stuff could fit in a car. Like I didn't have any furniture. I had just like an inflatable mattress and like everything
Yeah.
could fit in
Yeah,
one
you
room.
just needed a
Yeah, that
car,
I'm just gonna
and you were
say
too young at the time to
that
rent a
relationship
car.
needed to be over
Yeah,
because
agreed. It's
mm-mm.
unfortunate, but it just sounded like there was zero effort coming in to that friendship
I have people that
from the
I'm
other
not
side.
necessarily friends with now, but they were willing to help me move.
Yeah, that part. I'm like,
You know what
but
I mean? Like,
I
dang.
mean, to
I had a
play the
boss
devil's
that I love
advocate.
him, but I don't like him. But he even like one day helped me move. I mean, it was because he didn't want me gone a whole day because that was like assistant manager stuff. But he still helped me move.
And to play the devil's advocate, 5 hours. It was a 5 hours round trip or 5 hours one way.
5 hours one way, but
Uh
keep in
huh.
mind the entire time she said she would help me move. At no
No,
point
no, no.
did
Yeah,
she
yeah, yeah.
say, I'll help you
It's too
move
long.
if
Yeah.
my boyfriend is available. She never said that. She said, "Oh yeah, definitely. We'll love to help you move." The months she was saying that.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't say you're gonna do something if you're not gonna.
Nope.
So I haven't spoken to her since. I've seen her on Facebook. She's gone off the deep end. Uh,
Oh
she's
Lord.
well, I mean, she's gone very extremist in some of her views that don't really make sense in the real world because she's one of those like her parents paid for her college and they she so like when she graduated she was like, oh, how long is it normal for someone who has a bachelor's degree to still live with their parents? I was like 6 months. She was like, oh, I was thinking like 5 years.
I think it
Um,
depends on your situation.
and if you can get a job soon.
Yeah.
But
And
sometimes when you're brand new, yeah.
culturally,
Well, she's a black woman, 1 year older than me, and she's just spoiled. That's all it comes down to. She had her
But I mean, I
parents
know.
pay for everything, and I was like, at least give back to them, especially since she has a sister 14 years younger than her. So I'm like, your parents need to focus on the child that's still in their care, at least help them out with that. And she felt very entitled in the sense that, oh no, my parents are supposed to provide everything for me. I shouldn't have to give anything to them. And it's like, you're 26, you can help out with a bill, help out with the little sister, something. If you're talking about staying with them for the next 5 years just to leech off of them.
To be roommates with that person in the first place. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm not sure. And then it just got to a point where I'm like, okay, I don't really have any other options. But let's move on to the next stranger friendly topic that we have here.
yes,
Very
since that one
Funny.
was
educational.
It's so
so
funny.
friendly for
Yeah,
strangers.
no, like that was
Don't get
such
me
a
wrong.
great
Like
icebreaker.
I
Yeah, it's how you get to know each other. Just ask
I mean,
them,
I don't
"Hey,
really ever
when
meet
was
a
the
stranger, so there
relationship
are probably some
over?"
strangers that know a lot of stuff about me, but don't even know my name. So it's not too far out of the realm possibility.
Where have you found a sense of community and belonging?
Ooh, okay, that's another loaded question.
If I'm
Um,
being honest, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, go ahead, because I need to find somewhere to start with this one. So please.
I would have to say that I'm still trying, looking, I think, for like my actual tribe. There's been a lot of change that has kind of uprooted my entire self even. um, um, I moved cross country with two children and a third on the way in 2019. I gave birth in 2019. Um, and so I moved from Utah to Maryland to Baltimore at that time. And for those that don't know, you couldn't find two more opposite cultures in anywhere if you tried. Um, and so culturally, it was quite a shock. Um, and then I gave birth, and then a year after I gave birth, everything got shut down. And so then naturally, and I suffer from depression and anxiety, um, and and so naturally, like I kind of spiraled out. I was working from home. I still work from home, and it's just I don't do anything. I don't go anywhere. So I didn't get a chance to kind of establish myself in this new city. And even now, I'm like, I don't really have any friends like in the area. I don't do anything. And so I'm still kind of trying to find my tribe. I think so. I think that that's a hard question for me to answer because I can't say that I quite have just yet. Um, I do have a community that the four of us are a part of, with on another creator's server, that I feel that like I'm finding some friends there. I have other another server that I have some pretty close friends with as well. But I think I'm still kind of finding my place.
Honestly, I feel almost exactly the same as you do. Because like, yeah, I was in the military, but that kind of is like a different headspace than being in what we call the civilian world. So
Hmm.
just being out since then is just it's one of those things where I have very specific niches that I like. And especially being, black female, like it's rarity that you find people who like crocheting or like needle art or cosplaying. And so honestly, just from the luck of the draw, I was able to find a new group of girls who, the more we started talking, the more I was just like, okay, there actually is people out there who like, even though we have some points, like some views that are different, we are able to actually come to a common understanding and actually have intelligent conversations, not just the high and by and how's little Susie's son doing. And so I can definitely say it's starting, and I'm definitely at that point in my life at 30 where it's definitely I'm wanting to actually find that tribe and wanting to find a place of safety, I should say, and that is with your tribe. And so I'm getting there slowly but surely, but it's something that is definitely still being worked on.
Just so you know, love, I knit. I can't crochet, but I knit.
I
Just
do
See, I couldn't
crochet.
do
I
that. I
crochet
can't
all
knit.
the time.
and I was the
I
opposite. Like the crochet was just it just never clicked in the knitting, and that's like so for a long time I knit like all my kids like hats and because he didn't like anything cover he has autism so he didn't like anything covering his fingers so they didn't make fingerless gloves for like 3-year-olds so that's why I started because he needed his hands to be warm but he couldn't stand for his fingers to be covered and so that was my only option so for a long
That's
time
actually
I
pretty cute. Oh my God, that's actually see amazing. See, like yeah, I in my normal day-to-day conversations, like I don't find that quite literally my schedule consists of going to work, coming home, um, going to Hobby Lobby, going to work, coming home, and that's about it.
I used to literally take him to Hobby Lobby so he could pick whatever color that he wanted. Oh, that was back when he couldn't be in a store without being in a buggy. It was a lot. But I back on topic. I am kind of in the same place as both of you guys, trying to find my tribe and my place. I've never really fit in anywhere. I always say I'm a walking contradiction because I really love people, but I can't stand people. So I have that. I think so I was like trying to summarize why I feel like that. And it's because I don't like meeting people's representation, like they're representative. I just want to get to the real so that we can decide whether you like me or I like you, and then we can move on if that's not the case. But we have spent so much time like meeting the representative and meeting that face that person wants to show to you. And it's like, can we just skip that part? But my therapist said you cannot skip that part because that's part of the journey. I don't like that part. So I tend to just avoid that part because it's for me, it's not interesting. Like it's only interesting when I see the real you because I don't like having to change my opinion of someone. So if I think you're this person because this is your representative and I found out that you're not, that makes me angry. So I don't like it. So I just don't do it. That's probably
No,
why I
I
feel
feel
like
that. I don't like wasting my energy on people where I could have wasted my energy on someone who deserved it. Like,
yeah.
mind you, like I think I heard you say this before, Sharon. I think we actually had this conversation before. I don't mind if you're a jerk, or I don't know how much cursing is going to be allowed in this podcast, but I don't know. I don't care if you're going to be an asshole or not, but like, just be that asshole. And I will decide for myself if that's what I need in that
Yes,
time of my life
definitely.
as as that person.
Just let me decide. Be you, and if you, because like I'm a lot, so not everyone's gonna like me. I'm fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. Because sometimes I don't like me,
That
but
part.
you know what I mean. So I can understand it. But what I don't understand is that you're trying to put on this facade of who you think who you think I think you should be, and then finding out that that's not the case. And so now I've had to change my opinion of you. So now I'm doubly angry. I'm angry that you basically spent half of our relationship lying to me about who you are. And then I'm also angry because now I have to change my opinion. I don't like it. So just be who you are up front, and I can decide, because some people are a fair weather friend, but some days all I want is the good time friend. I might not feel like going deep today, so I might just want that friend that the only thing she wants to talk about is the drama. Sometimes I like the tea, but maybe I don't talk to her every day.
I felt that. That makes sense to me. What about you, Sophie?
Yeah, same. I don't have a sense of community. Um, I'm pretty in the world we live in today, there's a lot of extremes that people seek out, and they want to be around people that reinforce certain beliefs and viewpoints. And finding people who genuinely are okay with different perspectives is the difficult part. You have a lot of people who will say that they're okay with it, but then once you actually say something that they don't agree with, that's where the tension comes in, and where they start, trying to make full judgments about a person just based on just having a different viewpoint. Um, Most people don't even understand what a deep conversation is. They think asking, "Oh, what do you do for work?" and asking questions about your career or whatever is a deep conversation. They don't know how to go further than that. And a lot of times, if you try, they're uninterested, or they're intimidated, or they feel like, "Oh, wow, I don't know if I can keep up with this person," which by no means am I asking for someone to be well versed in everything that I may want to discuss, but at least be able to discuss it, at least be able to, you know, contribute to the conversation. But also just the, you know, the older you get, the less your priorities are towards groups of people, and the more you focus on just what you need for yourself and the people who are most important to you, or the causes that are most important to you. And right now there's a loneliness epidemic among adults who
Hmm.
are expressing that they're having trouble finding friends. In my
Yeah.
case, that's not a problem for me because I genuinely don't care to hang out with people. People are exhausting to be around, and most of them just really aren't worth my time. So I don't really get that. I am pretty fine being on my own. I'm fine being locked away in an apartment and not talking to anyone for weeks. Only thing is, at that point, I could kind of lose my voice and forget how to speak. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty fine not interacting with people. So
Hmm. And I can,
She
so like I can
says,
kind of relate that to that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Um, but I can kind of relate to that, in that like I can be content in myself. I'm not necessarily like extroverted per se, which is strange as a theater major to say. Um, but there is a part of me, I think it's the therapy, like the therapy healing part of me that knows that in order to combat the chemical balance imbalance in my brain that leads to my depression, that I need to have connections with other people, um, in order to be healthy.
Same.
Um, and so like I can spiral down into this hole of darkness, and bury myself in myself. Um, and to be honest, I'm never alone. I'm a single mother of three boys, and so I'm never alone. Like ever. Um, but it's not the same. It's not the same as having adult connections. and I think so. I like to be by myself, but I know that I need to be with other people in order to be healthy.
And see, I don't mind being by myself, but I have such a rich fantasy life in my head that it's not healthy for me to be by myself for long periods of time because I can have a whole world going on in here and no one else is involved. It's just not healthy. And so when I
But
start dealing with real people again, it's like, oh,
but that's the best entertainment.
it is. But for me, mentally, like mental health wise, for long periods of time, it is not healthy. I have noticed for myself. I
It's actually
I,
wish.
that makes
funny.
sense.
No, don't get me wrong. That's not by choice. Because if I had my choice, I would just stay in my head because everything is beautiful and perfect and wonderful and all of the things. But that's not how life works for me, even though I wish it were.
Yeah.
All right. So, moving on to the next question. This one's a little spicier.
Oh, oh God.
Mm.
Oh, you're about to hear some words from me.
Oh, oh. Well, that
Okay.
sounds like you're getting ready to. It
Okay.
sounds like you're gonna share with the class.
I
And
know.
for anyone who's just listening, the question is, who is or was your celebrity crush?
So I absolutely have this disdain for people who have celebrity crushes.
Dang,
And
you're just gonna roll out a whole group of people.
I'll say she's about to have a.
man,
She's about to get in a fight. No, I'm
ah,
just joking.
man, well, I'm about to like fly off the handle right now because just like I can honestly say, because it's different than it was like before, and even before when you're looking at these people who have this celebrity crushes, it's not like you're having a conversation and in passing you're just like, I don't know who's a famous person now that people like. See, I don't even know these people. That's why you know I don't
Jeffrey
even
Dahmer?
care. Who?
Jeffrey Dahmer?
Oh my God.
Okay. No, and that's sad because she's actually not wrong. Okay, but like, okay, let's go with somebody else. Let's go with somebody else. Um,
Onision?
who?
Onision.
What was that?
You guys are
Who
showing
was?
your age.
We
Oh, yeah, we're showing our. Yes, we are. Okay, so let's
See,
apparently.
just.
if you showed like a picture, I might know who they are, but I might not connect their name in my ADHD
Uh,
n-
brain.
he
I can
was
assure
he
you
used
that
to
if she showed a
be
picture, I would not know who it was.
he used to
Yeah, no,
be
I've.
a very controversial YouTube figure. He has been heard since the pandemic, but you probably know the song "I'm a Banana," that really annoying song
No.
that was on
Yeah,
YouTube.
no.
Or
Mm-mm.
okay,
No.
never
I'm still
mind.
drawing a blank. Well,
Oh,
and
see,
for me,
look.
most of the time, if he's super
He was friends with
controversial, and
Shane Dawson
if
until
it's
they
not
like
anything
had
for
some
like
drama.
Oh,
wonderful,
I know Shane. I know Mr. Shane Dawson, but that's old school, old school. But like going back to what I was saying, like everybody has like now this sick obsession and what is that fancy word that everybody use? Like the parasocial relationships that people have with these celebrities is almost getting out of hand. Um, and truth be told, I'm looking at some of these quote unquote celebrities and they look like the same Ken and Terrence that I went to high school with, and it's nothing to be, falling over the chair over. So they, I'm just not understanding these fascination with these celebrities. They're just people who do arts. Like it's like these people have never been to a drama class.
Okay, so I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. Um, and I think that what you're describing are the extremists. Um, and I in no way want to be grouped with or included in that group. Thank you very much. But I can definitely understand what you're saying, and I think that what you're saying is absolutely accurate. Um, so I'm a huge K drama fan. And my current crush, and I say current like he hasn't been, I haven't been in love quote unquote in love with this man since the first time I ever saw him on screen. Um, but his name is Lee Soo-hyuk. He's a Korean actor and model. And he is just he's a beautiful man. He's a very good looking man. Um,
What's he been
What's
in?
he in?
but
Because I need to
he
see pic.
have you seen the it's called Tomorrow on Netflix, the K drama Tomorrow
No.
No,
about
but
the
let me
Grim
look this
Reapers.
up because I gotta see this. So I'm gonna go to my
I
Netflix
think
really
it
quick
might
and see its
actually, it might be
take.
one of the ones. Is it about the like Grim Reaper?
Yes.
Okay, because it's on my list. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
So he plays I can't remember the character's name, but he plays one of the Grim Reapers.
The
He
main
pulls in
one?
all the baddies. No,
Or
so the main one is a girl.
Oh,
you said his
he
name is what?
is handsome. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's his
Mm-hmm.
name again?
Girl. Isuyuk. It's
His name is.
spelled Lee, Lee.
Okay, that's why I wasn't finding him.
Yeah, it's I mean the Korean pronunciation is Isuyuk. It's if we were using like English, it's Lee Soo Hyuk. Um,
Okay, I see who
but
you're talking about.
but but to your point, right? Especially like if you know anything about Korean entertainment culture and like the way that they are, that there is a level of unfortunately for some of these, just for celebrities in general, um, it's like the population or like the general consensus is that the population owns them,
Mm-hmm.
or that
Yeah.
they owe the general population
Yep.
something
Yep.
of them, and that if they don't meet their fans specific ideal or I or or like mold or anything like that, then it's like how dare they. And that's, so to me, I don't understand that, and I think that that's what you're trying to get at, love, in that it's like these are also still human beings, right? um
Yes,
and
And no
yes.
they
one owns them.
deserve the respect and the privacy and the freedom to be human beings
And do whatever the hell they want with their
and do
life
whatever
at
do
their
whatever
time.
do whatever they want. Exactly,
The
exactly
only
that
'Cause I
point.
feel like the only thing that people really should be able to critique is like the content. You know what I mean? Like the movie. If you didn't like the movie, okay, fine. Or if you didn't like the song, whatever. But their personal life should be off limits.
Well, and even if their personal life comes to light and you don't care for their character, then move yourself right along. Like,
Right.
stop giving a shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like I had the biggest crush on like Chris Hemsworth, right? Thor, beautiful man.
Yes, he is.
But he's also married, so I take
Yep.
him off my list. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you just, I can appreciate a good looking man. Um, but I can
Or
also
the
appreciate the fact
just
that
because
they're
I think you're
human
beautiful doesn't
beings
mean I'm actually gonna ever try to sleep with
or ever meet you. I'm never
you.
gonna meet that man. You
No.
know what I
Yes, I think you
mean?
said it a little bit better than I did. It's like I think people are starting to lose the actual appreciation for the art that these people are actually putting out. And yeah, it's starting, especially it doesn't matter with any conversation now that I feel like I have with anyone, as if we're talking about any specific like artist on any platform, there's that sense of entitlement that the consumer has where it's just like, oh, or we could even, go into the whole Game of Thrones thing where it's just like, oh, I want it to be done like this. And it's just like, the reason why you guys started to like the author in the first place was for his mind. So let him do what he does best, it's I don't know, it's just super weird the fandom nowadays, especially with the K-pop. And oh my gosh, like I really wanted to like K-pop, and then all of that stuff started coming out about how it really is and how the artists are getting treated, and I was like, I want to love these songs, but I can't in good faith like even really want to get into it knowing how these people are getting treated.
Oh, I still love the songs. Sorry.
Oh no, and that's the thing is I mean this nicely. Like I wish I would got into it before that whole like year
The
when they started talking
scandal.
about yeah. Like I
Yeah.
really wish I got into it because then I could start appreciating the actual art more than the drama behind, you know, all like every single artist that's out there. But now it's just each time I watch it, I'm just like, oh man, I wonder did she eat that day or it's so it's kind of ridiculous.
And I feel
Yeah.
like kind of like
How
the whole
about
K-drama thing is like in the wheelhouse of a typically younger crowd because some of the I've seen a few of the stars come out and I was like, you look like a baby. Like
And
I
some
can't
of
even
them
see you
are
in the way that's
babies.
supposed to be here because you look like somebody's baby. You know what I mean? Like I can't do it. I have officially crossed the age where I am too old because I got hit on by a high schooler at one point. I didn't know he didn't look like one, but like I was in a store and he was like hitting on me. He was gorgeous. And then my little cousin, who I knew was literally a senior in high school, was like, "What's up, man? I haven't seen you in class." And I was like, I was like, "Oh God, you're so young." Oh,
how about you, Sherelle, for the question? Who is or was your celebrity crush?
I mean, it changes day to day. Um,
Very
Who is
faithful.
today's?
it depends on what. Okay, so back to K dramas. It's on Netflix. It's My Demon. I think it's how do you say his name? It's like Song Kang. He's adorable. Um, but I just like him because he's always a little bit angsty, and I like my celebrities with a little bit of grunge. But most of the
Song
time,
Kang?
it's just, but then I have one that's going to be my celebrity crush for probably the rest of my life, and that's Shamar Moore. He just makes me just
Oh,
body
Oh,
just
he's
I'm
Oh
that's
wow.
really listful. Like I'm just looking at what he looks like. Like that's it. I don't really care about his personality, which don't get me wrong, his personality is adorable, but I don't really care when I'm looking at him. That's that's just that's our relationship in my head.
She's one of those ones
Sophie.
who's just like, don't say anything,
Yep, nope, don't talk.
just stand
Can't be
there.
bothered. It's okay.
Sophie.
I don't have one.
No, we're gonna fight. How are you gonna ask
Yeah,
the
no,
same questions?
oh,
How are you
But
gonna
you
ask
know,
the
it
same
doesn't have to be
questions
like
and then not contribute to the
well, and then
conversation
because
with your
people
own
do woman
answers?
crush too, so it could be somebody that you just like admire, or you think is great talent, or whatever.
Um, I used to, look up lots of information and interviews and stuff for Neil Patrick Harris,
Yes,
Adam Young, and
ooh,
David
yes,
Tennant.
yes.
Now, I can
oh,
See,
absolutely
see,
exactly.
respect. Well,
Bam.
see, and I can respect those especially as for their talent and their skill.
Yes,
I wouldn't say that Neil Patrick Harris or even David Tennant, for that matter, are like my type on paper in any way whatsoever. Um, but their talent and their skill is incredibly sexy.
see. No, you're right. We're gonna have a talk because there's ain't no way you're gonna give us these good questions and from the beginning talk about no,
right,
no, and then come up with these juicy answers. Like, what are
right.
you talking about? What are you talking about? She's like, no, I don't have any celebrity crush, but it's gonna be these four people that I look up. What are you talking about?
I didn't have a crush on them. It was just like I want to learn more about what they're involved in and, just how they are off camera. Also,
No,
Oh,
no, I'm just that's what I'm
Sophie,
a
saying.
bit of
That's
Matthew
not
Gray
necessarily
Cooper
romantic
as
crush.
well.
Well, that sounds like a
Sophie,
crush to
Sophie,
me.
Yeah, that's
Sophie.
not necessarily romantic,
No,
like, because there are plenty of people that I would like love to meet and talk to you that I don't do anything else for me.
I'm talking about like 13 limited stuff, internet on and off. So when you have internet, what do I do? Oh, Neil Patrick Harris. I saw that one interview with him. He's pretty good in interviews. Let me see if I can find some more.
For me, the interview depends on the interviewer too. It depends on the what show, because sometimes.
He did one with Ellen, and she kept cutting him off. And at one point, he got so fed up. He like you could see it on his face and his demeanor. Like he kept trying to talk, and then he just gave up, and you could practically see him fuming.
That's kind of like what she's known for, though, so I'm not surprised. I never actually really got into Ellen, which is surprising.
I
No,
like her stand up. Her stand up, like especially like back in the day, is good. She's hilarious. But like after seeing some of her interviews and stuff, I found out that I don't know if I would care for her as a person. You know, like you know what I mean? Like I don't think that I would enjoy. I don't think I'd want to know her.
Yeah, same. The more I like watch her and stuff like that. It's one of those things to where it's like, if I see her on the street compared to like another celebrity, I'm running towards them and not her. I don't want to be rude, but that's what it is.
No, there
Uh,
was just there. I had seen this interview, and she had brought this cute, just adorable little Chinese boy in for an interview, and I don't know if it was like he was like a chess champion or like a Rubik's cube champion. He was the best at whatever it was that he did, right? But he was from China, didn't really speak any English, and she was interviewing him and she was asking questions and then like he was trying to answer the questions, but she kept interrupting the translator and then taking what the translator was saying and then making jokes about it. And like it to me, I got it felt like she was making fun of this little boy. And I was like, how are you going to pull someone who onto your show who doesn't understand your culture and a child and do that to them. And after I watched that interview, I was like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna partake in this anymore. I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
It's funny that you say that because my little moment with her was there was a segment with she played in 50 Shades of Grey. I I don't think
uh,
I never saw the movie all the way, but I was watching the interviews and she was on Ellen, and Ellen kept trying to make her feel so bad about, I think, like not being invited to her wedding or something like that. And Dakota was like, "Dude, I did invite you to my wedding." Like it was just so much gaslighting coming from her.
Are you
And
talking
when,
about Dakota Johnson?
yeah,
yes.
Dakota Johnson, I was going to say Dakota Fanning, but that's not it.
Definitely not it.
And so, like, you can definitely tell there's people that she really likes, and the people that is just there because they're big names for them to come on her show right then and there.
And see, I find myself liking more of a format where they just like the Graham Norton show. I like Graham Norton show because
I
they're like just
love
they're all
the
sitting on
Graham
the
Norton
couch and it
show.
just kind of it
Yes.
almost makes them be more themselves because they're so, like you're just talking to everyone. And so they say some things and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna get crucified again after I've been on your show," So but I really like it.
all right.
And he
So,
always mixes up the personalities too. He
Yes,
does. He
and
always
that's what I
mixes up the
love. He always has like
personalities.
a really
It's
interesting
so
people
good.
in there where you're like,
I do love the Graham Norton. I do love Graham Norton. I do have to say. Go ahead, Sophie.
So, moving on to our final topic of the night. At the time that we are recording this, it is late at night on Thursday, October 10th. And for anyone in the United
Mm.
States, you're aware of the recent events that have happened in terms of weather. Um, there was Hurricane Helene, and then very, very soon after, Hurricane Milton just went through Florida and caused more damage to areas already damaged by Helene. There's been a lot of different news coverings and whatnot about this. And whenever there's a major event like this, there's always the topic of whether to evacuate or not, and why some people evacuate and others don't. And so the question to end off on tonight is, would you evacuate in an emergency or ride it out?
Hmm.
I hate being the first person to keep answering, but I literally just dealt with this with the fires in my area. Um, and luckily enough, I only had to evacuate for 2 days. but I am the type of person who evacuate all the time. If not for your safety, then just for the legal reasons of it all. Because evacuation is them legally telling you we cannot help you if you get into a mess. If you end up getting stuck in whatever natural disaster that is happening, legally we can't help you because we're already evacuated. So get out while you can, and we can help you beyond that. But I definitely understand because almost every other, let's say, 4 or 5 times a year, we get a potential evacuation warning from a fire in my area, and so it's just like after a while, you don't even prepare anymore. You're just like, oh, it's not coming towards us because it never comes towards us. But then, yeah, watch it be the one time and you're not prepared. So I'm always team evacuate.
I would have to say if it's to the point where they're like, you are in this region and we are telling you to evacuate, then I would evacuate. I'm gonna follow an official order. But if it's not like an official thing, I think it would depend on the situation. Um, I think it would depend. Um, because I've got, like I've said already many times, I've got kids and it would depend. It would depend. I can't say one way or another if I would leave prematurely. Um, but once that order became an official order, I would I would be out of there for sure.
I am a coward, so I am gone.
I don't think that that would be cowardice though. I don't
Mm.
think that that's cowardice. I think it's smart. I think it's understanding that you would not be able to navigate the situation. I think
Yeah,
it's
and some things are beyond us. Like natural disasters are beyond us, and the fact that we have advanced so far to even get warnings now is a blessing. And so, if I'm kind of like you, if they tell me to get out, I am getting the hell out. I no, you're not going to see me on the news getting stuck waving my hands in the air because I didn't want to leave.
Well, and I've never been in any sort of natural disaster where evacuation was a thing that could happen. Like from where I'm from, we're in Tornado Alley, so we've only ever had like tornadoes. I mean, when I was in Japan, there was a earthquake and then a typhoon or whatever, but like it wasn't or tsunami, but it wasn't big enough for anybody to evacuate. But we were in a major tornado. And I can tell you right now that the anxiety that we still have, and it's been over a year now that we still have when there's like a thunderstorm and we have to like check, we're all checking the weather. Like my son's checking the weather. We've got it on the TV. Like we are, when I used to be like the person who like went to sleep to rain sounds, that does not happen anymore. So I get getting out if you can. Um, but you can't make everyone do anything. So there are always going to be those people, which I don't agree, but there are going to be those people who, if that's your choice, then that's your choice. And
I
you have
think
every right to make your choice, but you are going to be that person, like, like they said on the news, waving your hands at the top of your house because it's flooded and no one can get to you.
yeah, I think that a lot of it comes down like I think it's some of it I think is generational. Um and for me, like personally, I don't feel like I have roots, necessarily deep roots, when it comes to where I am.
Oh God,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I would leave
And
Yeah.
in a heartbeat.
so
Hmm.
I just don't have the money. That's the reason I'm still here.
and so like if they're like, hey, you need to up and move now, I'm like, whoa, okay, Jesus. I don't, it's I don't feel like I wouldn't feel like I was losing anything in leaving the home that I'm in right now. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I would be losing anything in having to pack up and move. Um, but I think for some, especially like I said, especially like if we're looking at like Tornado Alley, if we're looking at these places in Florida or in like South Carolina or any of these areas that are getting hit by these storms and that are really suffering. There's a lot of them, one, have never lived anywhere else. Um, a lot of them, it's like their family homes. And so this is my family home. Like my great grandmother and grandfather built this house or bought this house, and we have always lived in this house. I think that I think there's some of that is scarier to let go of than the storm that's coming.
See, and I totally understand that. I honestly do, because I do understand, especially when it comes to like a familiar home. If they told me that the house that's been in our family for 50 years was about to get flooded or something like that, then yeah, I would definitely have some issues with that. But, and this could be just a generational thing when it comes to me. But I always value my life over monetary things. So, yeah, I might lose all of my stuff, but regardless, um, I have my family. You know, I would rather mourn my house than a family member, if that makes sense. So it's like we will be able to get out of here and make new memories. We can treat it as if everything happens for a reason. However, you want to be able to move on, do that, but I just cannot in good faith leave my mom in a house that is in an area that is known for flooding just because she doesn't want to lose the familial house. Like, no, I'm dragging her out. You're leaving. I don't care what you say because your family needs you. Simple as that.
All right. And so that concludes the very first Sassy Ladies podcast. Does anyone have any closing remarks for the people?
Honestly, that was so much fun. I am just super happy with how it went, and I hope you guys had so much fun. Just going through these, very simple, nice, very demure questions that local alien has decided to prepare for us.
And if anyone wants to share their own experiences with any of these questions, by all means, feel free to do so. Any closing thoughts from Sherelle, Ariel?
No, absolutely. This was definitely a lot of fun. Please subscribe, support us. We are just trying to figure this out. If you think that you like any of what we had to say today, or if you have your own thoughts about them, put them in the chat. Let us know. Let us know what you think and what you thought, um, or your experiences as well. But no, this is good. This is good. We'll see
I
you
spent
soon.
most of my time trying to make sure that all of my answers were PG because I didn't know how deep we're gonna go.
I,
I was like,
since the
okay, keep it above board, keep it
since the
above board, keep it
questions were
above board.
so innocent and
yeah, they were
Demure
just,
and like
so
could have
Disney,
never
so
gone
Disney.
down, yeah, gone down the rabbit
I
hole.
gave up halfway through. I just couldn't speak without saying a couple of words. I gave up. I was like, you know what?
I was like,
Somebody will be
I was
able
like,
to
you can
bleep it
do this, you
out.
can do this. Don't say that word. Don't say that word. But I had fun.
And to the people listening or viewing right now, if you yourself are a sassy lady, there's always a potential to open up another seat on the Sassy Ladies podcast. So if you would like to be a guest, just absolutely continue to support us, leave a comment, and you might be on a future podcast. And with that, we will say our adieus. See you later. Make sure that you stay tuned. If you have any topics you want us to cover, whether it's current events or maybe something a little spicy, you can leave a comment below and we will look into that.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.